So there are a few ways to sell 3D prints. You can sell the prints, you can sell files, or you can do something kind of in between. So the first way of making money with 3D printing is kind of the obvious way. You start 3D printing something and you sell the thing that you printed. This is pretty easy and, like I say, obvious thing to do. There's a few challenges with it. Number one, if you are going to sell 3D prints, you need to make very certain that the design is actually yours or that you are allowed to use this. Very often there are designs that are within Creative Commons, or that you have explicitly worked with the creator to get a license for those designs. Then you can sell them through your Etsy or eBay or your website or whatever it happens to be. But you need to make sure that the models that you have, you are allowed to use. Many designers end up reverting to creating the design because that's the cleanest and easiest to do, because you don't have to collect a lot of designs and work through that paperwork. But selling the 3D prints actually has some other challenges with it, because you actually have to sell the prints. It goes from being a nice little hobby where you're making cool stuff to where you're actually having to market a product. And on Etsy, there's a few resources that help you. There's not very much help at all on eBay. Getting onto Amazon is very difficult. There are garage sale sites like Craigslist and Facebook, which can work pretty well, but kind of have a limit on them. If you're wanting to make it a business, it's a whole process in building the business. If you're doing it off to the side, Facebook Marketplace, really good direction to go if you have those models and are printing out models that you just don't really want anymore. The other option is to sell the files, and this is pretty much possible through most of the 3D model repositories out there right now. So My Mini Factory, Cults 3D, CG Trader. If you are a digital sculptor or an engineer and you've designed a product that can be 3D printed, you can sell that model to other people with 3D printers. You need to, again, make sure the licensing is correct so that people are not selling your models if you don't want them to explicitly. But that's a very good way to go, because it's very low cost to support the hobby, or again, if you want to turn it into a business, your business. But it is kind of low income because not very many people have 3D printers, and therefore not very many people purchase files to be 3D printed. It's in a kind of a niche market. So you either have to create something very good or just be willing to deal with kind of paying for your filament for the month by selling the files that you create through Fusion 360 or some other similar design software. And you do have to have good experience with that software. One tip that I would give you: if you are designing models, make sure to print them and tell other people how to print them, what materials, what settings, all the way through. That way it's just easier for people to actually use your models and make sure they get a good result. The third option is kind of an in-betweener. This is when you basically create models and also kind of help with marketing, but then the actual physical parts are sent to your clients. This is a Shapeways, this is an angled.io. This is where you upload a 3D model with the intent of selling the physical print, but you don't make the print. This is a really good option if you are wanting to scale up a business where you have an Etsy store, but during Christmas you don't want to get 10 more machines for just those 2 weeks. It allows you access to large-scale 3D printing production for basically free. Well, for absolutely free. Any of those files that are sold, any prints of those files that are sold, send a royalty back to you. Again, this requires kind of some more involvement in helping with marketing and promoting. If you have an audience or a group that is interested in a product that you designed, it's a really good option to allow you to sell a 3D printed product without actually having to run your 3D printer through the weekends and into the nights and all the time to make sure that you keep up with the demand. So those are 3 kind of simple ways to get started selling 3D prints. You can sell the prints, you can sell the files of the prints, or you can sell prints by posting the files. There's a lot of ambiguity in there, and there's a lot of neat ways that you can monetize your printer if you're doing it just as a hobby. If you want to turn it into a business, there's a whole nother slew of things to have to consider. Have a great day, everybody.